Hi, I want to do another. I want to discuss the next part. That this is the discussion of de Beauvoir's solution to this ambiguity of our life. In the previous video that I discussed on de Beauvoir, I made it in two videos because on on that video I wanted to discuss the idea of whether I want to discuss the truth of whether the life is really ambiguous or if she's I wanted to discuss that in that video. But in this video, I want to discuss separately her solution to this ambiguity. Well, it's not a solution. It doesn't make life unambiguous. But from this ambiguity comes an existentialist ethics. Sartre has one at the very end of this book. Well, not the very end, but towards the end. He towards the pretty much towards the end he creates this, some grounds for an existentialist ethics. He has different works which say more about that, but de Beauvoir in this book, what she does is she discusses that ambiguity. She discusses a lot of stuff about that. And then she comes to have a certain ethics that comes from this. So that there's a reason to have certain ideas and act certain ways because of this ambiguity. And in the previous video, I discussed how this ambiguity or absurdity or paradoxicality of the world is because there's this spontaneous internal drive that is, coming from us, which is coming from within us that drives us to engage in certain projects. Like project is like writing a book or graduating or getting a promotion. Projects. That's the word she uses. There's this internal drive that is spontaneous, which causes us to spontaneously choose certain projects. And then on the other hand, there is this I totally lost my train of thought. I sincerely apologize. Okay. Okay. On the other hand, of this internal drive, you have a external weight of the world. Now, I would discuss this weight of the world as things that are interfering. This external weight of the world that's going to weigh itself heavily on that spontaneous internal drive, and that's going to cause problems because that's where the ambiguity, absurdity comes from, and that creates a paradox of lives. So the question here is, what is the ethics that she has that comes out of it? I would classify it as an existentialist ethics, but I would classify it more as like she equates the decision to be free with the decision to be moral, essentially. Freedom to her freedom to de Beauvoir is not exactly the possessing the ability to just do whatever you want, but freedom is the ability to, or is the choice to have the ability to conduct certain projects as they come to you spontaneously, to conduct certain acts as they come to you spontaneously, and then I'm trying to think of where she says that in here, but she says in this book that the decision to be free. Well, she says that the will to be free is the will to be moral are are one and the same decision, is what she says. Essentially, what the whole project idea that comes from, the way that's gonna also being moral has to do with being in a certain kind of community where if it weren't for that community, then those projects would, the individual projects would collapse on themselves, because there's no community where those projects are sort of helped on by that community presence there. So, and another big part of this, what a person should do, is first of all, they should have the decision to be free, as well as the decision to accept this this ambiguity, this absurdity. Not accepting that is a situation of bad faith. To accept one's facticity is to not be in bad faith. Is to be in good faith. And I wanted to think about this idea of what it looks like to. I want to think about the idea of what it looks like to accept this idea that your life is ambiguous, and then go on with your life by accepting these certain projects, with the community setting, and choosing to be free by not only accepting this ambiguity, but also continuing on with spontaneous acts or spontaneous projects within this community setting. And I want to think about the idea of, is the idea to be free the same as the idea to be moral? And I would say that in a case where all of our lives are ambiguous, I would say that the choice to be free, the personal choice to be free, is exactly the same is the same as choosing to be moral. Personally, I would use a different word than moral, but I just think that's very interesting how that works, because I think it's interesting how lots of people in this world, lots of people who look at their lives and say, this is pointless, this is ambiguous, I don't understand, and yet many of them end up going on somehow, and they end up doing things which sort of battles that in a way. And there's she discusses ways that you can battle this. Other there's ways that you can battle this ambiguity, but it all involves bad faith. It all involves not accepting the current facticity. But then I also want to think about this idea of meaning of your actions coming from spontaneous acts and choosing to do that. Meaning of I guess the way that the reason that's freedom is because there's meaning that comes from those acts of spontaneous choices and choosing to go through with that. And I think I want to I guess I don't exactly agree with, being spontaneous, because I think that's can lead to certain other things. But I just wanted to do this video just because of the interesting idea of how freedom, the will to be free and the will to be moral, are one and the same decision. And I would say that this is a concept that needs to be re-elaborated, I would say. Rediscussed in light of de Beauvoir's writings. So I think that there's a lot, and I guess I kind of, as I'm doing this, I'm just thinking, because it's a very interesting idea, and I think there's a lot there, especially with her idea of how the projects are going to be sustained by multiple people with multiple projects, and how those projects are going to be sustained because of the community setting, along with the idea of willing to be free and willing to be moral, or being one and the same thing. That I think has been elaborated upon, and there's a lot more ways it could be elaborated upon also. So I don't know. I'm just thinking right now, and I did this video because I think more people should be thinking about this. There's a lot of things to think about in these books, and this books of Existentials, and there's lots to think about here, and I want to discuss more and more of this, because I think there's lots of things to discuss. So thanks.